Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast special edition series where I talk about each NFL team's offseason plans and I preview and predict how each team's offseason is going to go. We're at 24 of 32, and this episode is the team that I root for near and dear to my heart, the New York Football Giants. Thought about having a guest on for this one, but it would have been too last minute, and crazy stuff happens before these types of things get done. So that's why I'm trying to bang all these shows out. So you know the drill. Free agents to be, team needs, franchise tag candidate, trade candidate, release candidate, extension candidate, best draft fit, best free agent fit, and a bold prediction for each team. And this is going to be, as I said at the top, the New York Football Giants. All right, free agents to be. They have a lot of them. Saquon Barkley, Matt Breida, Sterling Shepard, Justin Pugh, Ben Bredesen, Jahad Ward, Ashawn Robinson, Adoree Jackson, Darnay Holmes, Xavier McKinney, Gunnar Olszewski, Tyrod Taylor, Isaiah Simmons, and then their long snapper, Casey Critter. All right, they have needs everywhere. I mean, quarterback, running back, receiver, guard, tackle, defensive end, defensive tackle, cornerback, safety. Like, this roster needs a makeover. All right, franchise tag candidate, none other than Saquon Barkley. It has to be Saquon. He's the best player that is going to be a free agent. He is the highest-ranked running back free agent, according to Pro Football Focus. Yes, he's the highest-ranked running back free agent, 29 on the big board. He was hurt this past year. Solid-ish year. He almost got to 1,000 yards despite being hurt. If he didn't get hurt, he would have ran away with that. He was amazing last season, obviously. He took a step back this year because of injury and poor quarterback play. But I know there's talk about the transition tag for Xavier McKinney, and I understand how the NFL thinks of running backs in today's day and age of the NFL. But Saquon Barkley's a star, and Saquon Barkley is what made the New York Giants offense go the last several years. So, yeah, they have to franchise tag him, in my opinion. Trade candidate, Daniel Jones. This is solely based on the fact that the possibility is sitting there for the Giants to draft a quarterback at 6 or trade up. And there's teams that need quarterbacks, and let's say Denver keeps Russell Wilson. The Bears keep Fields. The Cardinals keep Murray, and there's a team that needs a quarterback, and the Giants might say, might as well take one at 6 and trade him. So, to me, Daniel Jones is the trade candidate. There's other trade candidates on this roster, too. I think one of them could be, I know Giant fans might not want to hear this, but Kayvon Thibodeau. What if they trade up the 1? What if they trade up the 1 and go for Caleb Williams? Then Kayvon has to be in the deal, or Dexter Lawrence has to be in the deal. That's why those guys have to be mentioned in terms of trade candidates, because what if they move up the 1 and take Caleb? Or the 2 to take Jaden Daniels or Drake May. But I feel like if they have to give up one of those guys to go to 1, but I think they could get away with keeping them if they move up to 2 or 3 even. But I think guys on this roster could be traded because they want to move up for that quarterback. That's why. It's like New England that we talked about earlier. Release candidate, Darren Waller. He was a trade bust for the Giants. Daniel Bellinger's not a terrible tight end. He's actually pretty good. And was good for the Giants the year they made the postseason. So, to me, Darren Waller is an easy release candidate. I wouldn't be stunned if Darius Slayton got cut. Bobby Okereke was a good free agent pickup this past year, but I wouldn't be completely dumbfounded if he was cut. Raheem Nunez-Rochez from Tampa is they got as a free agent. Wouldn't be shocked if he's cut. Graham Gano is a cut candidate. Absolutely. He was not very good, and then it turned out he was injured, and you could argue Randy Bullock was better. He's another free agent. So, Graham Gano being cut wouldn't surprise me, the kicker. But yeah, there's a lot of release candidates, but I'm going with Darren Waller. Extension candidate. This was hard to find. They have guys coming up next year that are important. And then they had guys last offseason that they had to get done. I mean, at the time, we thought Daniel Jones. Andrew Thomas had to get done. He got done. And then, obviously, Barkley's still sitting there. But Azeez Ojulari's the guy that stood out to me as, like, a extension candidate. I know he's playing behind Kayvon Thibodeau, but if they change up their defense a little bit, you could play Ojulari at defensive end. You can move him to that position, and you don't have to pay him big time, but I think Azeez Ojulari is the extension candidate on this team. And like I said, I really don't see anybody else being that. Best draft fit, I'm going to go with Rome Odunze, the wideout from Washington. I love the same Malik Neighbors, but I took him for Cardinals. And I didn't want to use the same guy for best draft fit. You could talk me into one of the quarterbacks for best draft fit or one of the tackles. But Odunze is a speedy guy, and they need a WR1. He has all the potential. He's the 8th ranked player on the big board for Sporting News. Marvin Harrison would be the ideal. And like I said, any of the quarterbacks, whether it's Caleb Drake or Daniels or Penix or Bo Nix. Not a big J.J. McCarthy fan. I don't like him for the Giants. I think he would be better off on a team that has veterans around him. Omamia Fashanu is a good fit with the Giants. Joe Alt. If they trade back for some reason, I think Jared Verse or Leatu Latu wouldn't be bad. Marius Mims wouldn't be terrible. Although that would say a lot about Evan Neal. Any of the tackles would. Keon Coleman, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Cooper DeJean, Terrion Arnold. Any of these guys can fit with the Giants. Brian Thomas Jr. I think is like a sleeper. And then maybe like second round guys that I like for them. Jordan Morgan, Graham Barton, I'm a big fan of. Tyler Guyton. Those guys will probably be in the first round, but they could drop. TJ Tampa, Chop Robinson, Roman Wilson, Leonard Taylor. Free agent fit. Jonah Williams. So again, this is based on the fact that I think Evan Neal may move to guard. Jonah Williams, up and down with the Bengals, injured a lot. Wasn't very good this past year, but he could use a change of scenery. And he has potential. And he was good in their Super Bowl season. He was really good that year. But I think that on a different team, he could regain a little for him. Other potential free agent fits for the Giants. Chidobe Awuzie. Michael Winu. Trent Brown. If they want to go with the guard, maybe they could get in on Robert Hunt. That'd be a big acquisition for them. I think Jonathan Gennard would be decent for them. I don't think they would go Levante David. I don't think they would go with Clowney. So Darius Smith's an interesting one. Josh Uche of New England, maybe. I don't think they would touch Leonard Floyd. Maybe Grover Stewart of Indy. But yeah, there's some interesting free agent fits, or maybe one of the running backs if Saquon doesn't resign. All right, bold prediction for the Giants. I think the Giants are going to be the team that trades back into the first round and takes a quarterback. I'm going to say they trade up to 26. That's where the Bucs are taken. The Bucs are going to lose a lot of guys in free agency. We're going to get to them probably tomorrow. They need a lot of draft picks and a lot of youth on that roster. There's a lot of veterans they have leaving as free agents. They can re-sign Baker Mayfield, and they can trade back. Let's say they re-sign Baker Mayfield and trade back. Possible. Michael Penix Jr., I think, is the guy for the Giants. I think he showed a lot of potential. I think he was a couple of bad weeks in November removed from potentially winning the Heisman. He was outstanding, and I know he wasn't good in the Natty, and Michigan had a good plan for him in that game. But I do like the idea of Michael Penix Jr. on the Giants, and with a coach like Brian Daboll, I think he can coach him up, and he obviously is an upgrade over what they had last year. All right, so odds for the Giants. And a big reason why I think they're going to potentially take a quarterback is look at their Super Bowl odds. They're aligned with teams that we think are taking quarterbacks in the draft. Washington has the same odds as them. We think they're taking a quarterback. New England is probably taking a quarterback. They're 170. The Giants are 150 to 1. The sort of Commanders. And the Commanders are taking a quarterback. That is based on the fact that they probably think the Giants are taking a quarterback. Whether it's a trade-up situation at 6, or maybe even the second round if one falls to them. And to win the conference, I think only the Panthers have worse odds than them. Yes, they're 50 to 1. Them and the Commanders are each 50 to 1. And I saw Daniel Jones at 150 to 1 for MVP. What about Barkley, who should have been in the MVP conversation 2 years ago when they made the playoffs? 300 to 1. That's fun. That's a fun one. The bet on for next year. That's if he stays with the Giants, which I think he should. Offensive player of the year for Barkley will probably be like 40 to 1, 35 to 1, something like that. If it's 50 to 1 or higher, I'd absolutely bet it. Absolutely. Brian Daboll, coach of the year, will probably not have the best value only because it's Brian Daboll and he has respect around the NFL. Granted, coming off a disappointing year, but I do think that he might actually have a decent number. He might end up at like 50 to 1 for coach of the year. Like, he'll have better odds than like Gerard Mayo. He'll have better odds than Dennis Allen. He'll have better odds than Kevin O'Connell. He'll have better odds than some of these guys, maybe even Todd Bowles. Because of the reputation of 2022, I think Daboll's number is going to be shorter than some of these other potential long shots for Coach of the Year. But I'd say Daboll Coach of the Year will probably be like 45 to 1. If it's higher than 60, I'd consider betting it. Absolutely. Trying to think of other potential words. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Say if they took Penix, I could see like him being like a super duper long shot, like 60 to 1 if they bench Daniel Jones and go to him and he's awesome. Or they take Romeo Dunze or Malik Neighbors at 6. And one of those guys could be like 12 to 1. That'd be a lot of fun. I don't think they'll go with a defensive player with their first round pick, but you never know. So I wouldn't like talk about defensive rookie or defensive player of the year for the Kayvon Thibodeau is probably going to be like 50 to 1 or something like that. People are going to think that's short because it's the Giants and people like to bet on Giants just like people like to bet on Cowboys and Eagles. So I think 50 to 1 will probably be the Kayvon Thibodeau Defensive Player of the Year number. And Daniel Jones Comeback Player of the Year is another interesting one. I'd say that's going to be like 50-1, maybe 60-1. If it's over, if it's over 75-1, I'd bet it. But I don't think he'll win it because Joe Burrow and Kirk Cousins are probably better bets to win that award. All right, so there you have it for the New York Football Giants. Oh, wait, one more thing for them. Bill Belichick, they're absolutely a Bill Belichick candidate. If they underachieve, I think that he's in play for them. Absolutely. Homecoming for Bill, by the way, because he started his career there as a defensive coordinator. Or he was some coach with the Giants. Was it defensive backs? Was it defensive coordinator? But that'd be a homecoming. Yeah, he was a defensive assistant. He was the defensive coordinator on the Giants. That's what I thought. And then he left there to go to the Browns. And then Giants to win the division. With Daniel Jones, it's probably going to be like 8-1, maybe 7-1 plus 750. I remember it was plus 750 the year they made the postseason in 22. But if it's a rookie, it's probably going to be like 10-1, maybe even 12-1. Win total with Daniel Jones is probably going to be right where it was last year, like 7.5. And if it's a rookie, it's going to be lower. It's probably going to be like 6. If it's a rookie. If it's Daniel Jones, it'll be a little bit higher, you would think. All right, so next up is the team that shares a stadium with the Giants, the New York Football Jets.